Who gets to define what you are as a person? And what happens when others define who you are and what you are?
I feel like you're defined by what people see you as.
This is good. What do you mean? What do you mean, Steve?
You respond or you react to the way people treat you or, in a sense, look at you already.
Right.
Or because the feedback that I get from others depends on how I react.
Okay.
In a sense, so
you're saying that in a sense that if I... Yeah, you put your head up now, Joe. If I choose to, I can keep you from having power over me regardless of what you call me.
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, okay. So a white guy cannot use the N-word,
True.
right? We would agree, would we all agree on that?
Unless you're in the movie Django.
Unless you're in the movie Django or you're playing a character in a play, a white character in a play who uses that kind of language. Go ahead, Melissa.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna make him dizzy.
I know, he's gonna watch this and go.
What the heck? Who's running the camera? Okay. Nate, it's Joe. It's Joe. Joe's running the camera. So if you get seasick, it's his fault. Okay, so what do you think? Is Stephen right? To a certain extent, you can control who has power over you.
To a certain extent. But in chapter 2, like one of the quotes that stuck out to me was, people struggle over power, therefore they struggle over the words that express power. To control words is to control the world.
Right. So how does that relate that to the two clips we saw? We have the one clip in which the accusation is big nose. You're a big nose. And the other clip in which the character, being told that he's a Roman, claims an identity in the worst stereotypical words. I'm a yid, a kike, a hebe, a hook nose, a Red Sea Pedestrian, which is my favorite. I would love to be called a Red Sea Pedestrian. That's just my favorite nickname, and I'll claim that any time. But what's the difference? I mean, the one ends up in a battle, and the other ends up with him going angrily to his room. What's the difference?
I think it's again just how, like what Stephen was saying with, it depends on how you take it depends on how you take it. Because with the first one, he didn't like being called a big nose because he was conscious of it.
Right.
And that was more an attack at like him instead of with the second one, it was more like, oh, well, I'm saying that you're this person when you've known for the rest of your life that you were the other one. So you would cling to that you've known better than you would the first accusation.
Okay. What do we go ahead.
I think it also has to do with who is saying it. Like, his mom was telling him that he was a Roman.
Right.
And then the other guy was like a total stranger for him.
Right, total stranger.
Yeah.
So if your mom says you're just a dumb Swede.
Yeah.
So my mom says that to me. It's just mom power.
Yeah.
But if it's a total stranger says you dumb Swede, I might be upset.
Yeah.
Okay. I probably wouldn't be upset anyway.
We're still on defining.
Right, we're on defining. Who gets to define you?
Perfect example would be like you have most people who you say they're not being themselves, and you'll say, "Why are you acting like that? That's not you." Obviously, they're reacting to what other people are seeing them as or viewing them as. So they're defining themselves on what other people, in a sense, what they want people to view, because they're going off their reaction of what other people are. Like somebody may say something like, "Oh, you're a nerd or something," or you're trying to act hard, or you're trying to act gangster, or you're trying to act black. So.
Or you're not black enough.
Right. So you're defined, in a sense, depending on how much power or self-discipline you have over yourself, by what other people think. So your perception is pretty much based on what other people think. Because if you get respect, you feel respected as a person.
Okay. So Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, and Justin Timberlake are in the same room. Who's the blackest guy there?
They're going to say Jay-Z.
Some people would say Justin Timberlake. He certainly struts it, the whole gangsta.
I'm not gonna give you that.
Justin Timberlake?
What?
He thinks of himself as black.
I mean, you say some.
Kenny.
Who was the third one you said?
Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, and Justin Timberlake.
I never heard.
No, we're talking about who defines us, right? I think in a way people's reaction, that's what we're discussing, yes. I
Right.
think in a way people's reaction, I don't think it defines us. I think it may define an attitude that we're portraying at that moment. But I think we are the only ones who have the power to decide what defines us.
Okay.
Going back to our, like, the values that we were talking about, it's my ego, it's my personality. You can call me a nerd, you can say that I'm too white or not white enough, but I'm the one who makes the decision to change that or to grow.
Okay. So at what level there are two questions then. At what level do the really nasty words that we will not use, the F word, the C word, and the N word, the three words that we will not use to define others, at what point do those attempt to take power over us, both if we use it or if we are called that, and at what point does the media have any responsibility for defining who we are?
Well, I also think it has to do with the society as well. Like,
Okay.
it depends on where you were born and
Absolutely.
where you were raised and all
Absolutely.
that. For example, in Mexico, we don't have any racism because we don't have like many different races in our
Everybody's
country.
Mexican.
Yeah, so it's easier. Like, but we do have a certain sort of classism, that's how you can call it, that has to do with like your income. So
Do you have any distinctions because of skin color?
no,
No, I didn't think so. There is in Cuba.
because it's very hard to find like somebody that's like a different race. Like,
Well, but wouldn't there be a distinction between those who are of Mayan ancestry, Aztec ancestry,
Yeah.
and those who are of Spanish ancestry?
well, yeah, there's sort of a difference, but
But it's also mixed with class.
it's mixed with that because like you can find a really rich person that's like Aztec ancestry sort of thing.
Yeah, but you look at Morales in South America, in where is he? Uruguay.
Morales?
Yeah, President Morales.
Evo Morales. Evo Morales.
Yeah, Evo Morales. Where is he? Where's he president? Paraguay? Uruguay?
No. I don't know, it's somewhere in Central America. I think.
Yeah. South America actually.
Is it South America?
South America, and he is of Mayan background, Mayan ancestry, and he's had a hard time getting. But how he's been defined in the media, same thing with Hugo Chavez.
Yeah.
You know, how he gets defined in the media really is something that has to be battled with.
Yeah.
So but in some cultures, one of the things that people from Britain have to adjust to in coming to America, the C word in Britain is no big deal.
What?
But in America, it's huge.
What?
It's huge.
The what?
The C word.
What's the C word? Cracker?
No.
No.
No. Reference to a female. Reference to a female.
That's not big in Britain?
No, it's
That word is
just,
awful.
it's awful in America. It's not awful in Britain.
Wow.
So they just throw it around like
Yeah.
it's nothing?
Yeah.
Well, like black people
It doesn't
can say
even-
the N-word,
it
but
doesn't
white
even-
people can't.
It doesn't even refer to
Don't want you
females.
ever say the C word.
Okay. All right. So the issue still is, at what point do definitions take power? And Brummett wants to make the point that by allowing them to have power over us,
Bolivia.
thank you. But
I was like, what? Bolivia?
Do I have to stop and add 10 minutes in this?
no, just we'll let it run a little bit longer.
Okay, cool.
Brummett, I think, is making the point that rhetorically, definition has power. And if you can control the definition, you have power. So that by not letting others use words that are not appropriate, are not allowable, are not proper, by letting others use those, but refusing to give in to any kind of outrage or personal vendetta, you actually retain power that you might otherwise lose. Does that make sense out of it? Can you think of any other nationalities or ethnicities that, that might have names that others have given to them, definitions that others have given to them, that they might not care for? Anybody?
Was an African American one like that they?
Well,
changed?
African American is commonly accepted. Seems to be fairly neutral.
They took that off. They don't
Yeah.
have that as an option anymore. It's either black.
Yeah,
Black.
because
African-American.
they're not
That's a
African,
cultural
they're
change.
American.
What
yeah.
about what about Indian?
Damn.
What about Indian?
Redskin.
We now use Native American. What do members of various Indian tribes use? They use their tribal name.
Yeah.
And the northern